All right.
Okay, so as I was saying, the initial collegiate athletic contest where student ran. As popularity and prestige continued to rise, the pressure to win also increased, and this is where the first coaches came into place, which in 1864, the Yale crew team hired their first coach to help them win. At this point, there was virtually non-existing playing and eligibility rules, and students took charge and created the Intercollegiate Football Association in 1876, which consisted of students from Harvard, Yale, Princeton, and Columbia who agreed on consistent playing and eligibility rules. In 1895, the Intercollegiate Conference of Faculty Representatives, better known as the Big Ten Conference, was established to help create student eligibility rules. 10 years later, in 1905, the Intercollegiate Athletic Association of the United States was formed to make safer rules. And more exciting play for football. This is what we know now as the NCAA. The Carnegie Reports of 1929 painted a bleak picture of intercollegiate athletics, identifying academic abuses, recruiting abuses, payment to student athletes, and commercialization of athletes. This forced the NCAA to change from a rule-forming organization to one that would oversee a whole lot more. And instead of just forming rules, now they were to oversee academic standards for student athletes, monitor recruiting activities, and establish principles governing amateurism. So the first women's intercollegiate sporting event was a basketball game in 1896 between the University of California, Berkeley and Stanford. The Commission of Intercollegiate Athletics for Women was created in 1966 and was followed by the Association for Intercollegiate Athletics for Women in 1971. The prominent theme of women's involvement in athletics was participation at the time. Everybody was encouraged to play instead of just like the best athletes or people that were capable, and it was more just for fun and competition. Eventually, the AIAW was forced to dissolve to the NCAA because of. So the AIAW was pretty much the NCAA to women's sports, and eventually they were forced to dissolve because the NCAA pretty much overtook them and started giving membership to women's sports programs. So the NCAA was now pretty much the overseer of women's and men's sports. Industry format. The three main college athletic organizations include the NCAA, the NAIA, and the NJCAA. And the NCAA consists of more than 1,200 institutions, conferences, organizations, and individual members. As you can see, like from the top to bottom, you have association-wide committees, executive committee, and then in the Division I you have the board of directors, and then under them is the leadership council. And then in Division II you have the president's council, and then under them you have the management council. And then in Division III you have the president's council, and under them you have the management council. Okay, so the NAIA was founded in 1940 for small colleges and has close to 300 member institutions. The NJCAA was founded in 1937 to promote and supervise junior college sports and has currently 525 member institutions. Industry format continued. The NCAA is broken down into three divisions, Division I, II, and III. Division I obviously being the biggest, and then they go down, they get smaller. The divisions are all different. They all have their own different rules, legislation, philosophies, and interests in line with the student athletes. Division I consists of 335 members, and they support the philosophy of competitiveness, generating revenue through athletes and national success. Division I athletic programs are held to a standard of having at least 7 all-male sports and 7 all-female sports within their sporting programs. Division II athletics has 288 member schools, and they typically attract student athletes from local or in-state schools with the chance to get athletic scholarship, but it's usually not a full ride such as a Division I scholarship. And they must offer at least 10 different sports, 4 to 5 men and 5 to 6 women. And then Division III, they have 432 member schools, and they do not offer athletic scholarships and encourage participation by holding a large number and variety of sports. and they emphasize participants' success and joy instead of bystander. And then in the divisions, there's conferences, which are small ways to break down the NCAA in each division. Member conferences must have a minimum of 6 teams per single division to be recognized as a voting member of the NCAA. Being in a conference provides many benefits, including they sponsor championship games, and there's revenue opportunities inside conferences. Conference rules and conference realignment. There's a set of conference rules for every conference that is different, and the teams inside must adhere to the conference rules and the NCAA rules combined. And the rules can never be less restrictive, but they can be more punishable and powerful. Challenging issue, hiring practices for minorities and women. So basically an underrepresentation of minorities and women in college athletics in different fields. A 2008-2009 study showed that only about 4% of athletic directors and 7% of coaches were African American, which was only up about 2% from a 1995-1996 study, which is not they're very underrepresented compared to everybody else. The Black Coaches Association established a hiring report card in 2003 to monitor football hiring practices and at major institutions to ensure it was a fair process. And since then, there has been more hiring of Black football coaches. So I mean, things are improving a little bit, but it's still an issue. And then women have also lacked appropriate representation among administrators. A 2008-2009 study showed that only 9.4% of division positions were held by women, only slightly improved from 20 years ago. So that's still an issue. Career applications. In this segment, I've always had an interest in college athletics. I think it's more interesting than high school athletics because it's played at a higher level, and I think it's more interesting than professional sports because once you get to the professional level, it's all about money and different things get broken down. In college, it just seems kind of pure, and like people are trying to reach the professional level, so everything just that much more intense. Like I said, I always had an interest in some kind of job in college athletics. What it is now, I don't really know, but I definitely want to work in that field, so this was interesting to me. Just for my sake, there has been an increase in jobs and opportunities in the college athletic field, but there's also a greater demand and interest is growing, so, I mean, there is more, but people are also becoming more willing to work there. Schooling internships and knowing people are all key to being able to be a part of this and getting the head up on